Welcome back. It's time now for Media Watch. James Creedon is ready and waiting with another story that's going to bite us. Now, Twitter. Twitter, yes. Everyone's on it, everyone's using it, everyone says that it's the next or it's the current greatest thing to find out anything about everything that goes on.
That's right.
Does it have a reference and a relevance to political candidates?
Is Twitter sort of a crystal ball? Well, some would say it is, right? I think it's overstretching it a little. You'd need a kind of an oddly shaped computer to be able to do it. So do Twitter mentions mirror Florida primary results? Now, this website, Storyful, let's take a look at what they did. They went into Twitter and they set up these filters, which you're able to do. So how often were the candidates, Romney and Santorum and Gingrich and the rest of them, mentioned on Twitter in the same period as the election? So you can see here, Romney, 48%, mentioned quite frequently. Now let's look at the actual results of the primary election. It was actually very close. You can see there 48% for Romney, 47%. So, I suppose the question increasingly is, how scientific is this method and how accurate is it?
Because I'd have thought, in my ignorance, that it's only a certain swathe of society that uses Twitter.
That's
Therefore,
true.
it wouldn't reflect the whole.
That's very
However,
true. And
that seems to give the lie to what I've just said.
Now, but actually, Storyful are saying themselves, the correlation is compelling, though we cannot draw any conclusions, and they say that they did a similar test for the state of Iowa and for South Carolina, and in South Carolina it was totally off. So they admit themselves that it's not totally scientific. Now, over at Facebook, they're also getting involved in this sort of a process. They've an agreement with the political news website Politico, and to kind of try to test, or to try to, what would you say, take the temperature of what's being said on Facebook about the various different candidates. Now, one of the methods that they have is what they call sentiment analysis. Now, if you go onto Facebook and you have your status update and you write, let's say, Gingrich is doing very badly, or Gingrich is rubbish, or whatever. So they have a whole list of kind of negative words, and then they have a whole list of positive words, and they kind of correlate the two, and they're trying to tell how often you're speaking well of a candidate and how often you're speaking badly of a candidate. They call it sentiment analysis. Now, over at this website here, Tech President, they're saying this is completely bogus. Trying to kind of draw conclusions from this kind of stuff is just the bad science, basically. And they give the example of, let's say you are, what if you're being sarcastic, right? I'm so happy that Newt Gingrich is staying in the race. Well, maybe you're saying that because you don't like the guy, or maybe you're saying that because you're a Democrat and you think that Newt Gingrich is going to be really bad for the Republicans. So do you see what I'm saying? It's not always reliable.
It's one of these things, you can't win and you can't lose. It's kind of a very strange way to look at it. And I suppose the ultimate solution is the ballot box and, of course, good old-fashioned in-your-face campaigning.
Exactly.
We come back to that old thing about doing things the way we always used to.
Old-fashioned. Well, speaking of the opinion polls, they're pretty big today. Figaro here.
Yeah.
Front page opinion poll. Sarkozy's strengths over Hollande, right? So it's interesting to look at the old-fashioned opinion poll. Now, Le Figaro is quite a right-wing paper.
Yeah, it's fair to say.
Now, let's go on the computer because we have a close-up of the results of that, if you want to have a look.
Thanks, man.
So what they have here up top is they have a whole series of categories, right? So what they said is that for security issues, for immigration issues, Sarkozy is a stronger candidate. Now, when it came down to issues such as who is in a better position to unite the French, actually, Hollande did a lot better. But look where they put the result for that. It's at the very, very bottom of the poll.
Rassemblez les Français. That's the very one at the bottom of the pile there, isn't it? Right at the bottom down there.
That's right. Now, actually, Hollande did very well on that score, but they chose in this poll to reflect it in I suppose they distorted it. Now, if it was Libération, a left-wing newspaper, they could have put their headline using that, François Hollande in a stronger position to unite the French people. So I suppose polls, even though they're more scientifically conducted, there's a sort of a social science methodology behind it all, you can still, I suppose, distort the results with this sort of
and of course, what happens is they're reporting it for their own political standpoint as well, aren't they? I mean, clearly a lot of Figaro readers will be interested in who is going to struggle greatest against clandestine immigration or illegal immigration, which is something that's high on the agenda, and they say Sarkozy's the man for that. So clearly, Figaro has a market, and Libération, the left-wing paper, has a market, and that's what they search to exploit. Yeah,
they're going to spin the results whatever the way they want. Now, one other thing that was interesting in the last week or so, this CEO of Twitter recently said 2012 will be a Twitter election. He was speaking about US politics. So his point of view is that it's of such importance now for politicians that it could actually determine the outcome. Well, on Tuesday, Nicolas Sarkozy was meeting with his UMP party MPs. They have a weekly meeting. And it looks pretty clear. If we take a look online here, Chantal Djuano, she's a UMP party MP, she tweeted during that meeting 27 times. And a number of the media in the last couple of days had a look at what the MPs were saying on Twitter. And all of them were saying very positive things about Nicolas Sarkozy. He's in great form after his big interview on Sunday. And it looks like it was all concerted. They were told by whoever to go on Twitter, say positive stuff about Nicolas. You know, let's try to send out a positive message because they know it actually has an impact.
Good old-fashioned exploitation of the masses. There we go. So social media being used as an exploitation tool.
This is it. There you go.
It's all very sinister, isn't it?
It all comes back to the same old game.
Sinister, but deliver with a smile, James. Thank you. That's what I like
Thanks,
about
Mark.
you.
Cheers.
James Creedon, as ever, with Media Watch. Stay with us with more news to come, plus in the sport. The very latest from the Africa Cup of Nations. The latest games analysed by Dan Levy. Stay with us.